and I know anybody who watches this probably knows this, there's so many speed bumps and hiccups that come in any single transaction,
Absolutely.
right? And the goal is, as agents, to make sure we get over those speed bumps without the buyers or sellers feeling any of the pain of that speed bump,
100%.
right? Or maybe even not even knowing it exists, not putting that stress on you, you know?
Welcome to Real Estate Success Partner. We're your hosts, Devin Dubuc,
David Nguyen,
and we are here to talk about how to have great success in every market. And today we got a superstar of a guest. Dave, who'd you bring along?
Man, I brought a guest from South Florida, Alyssa Troiano. Is that how you say it?
Troiano.
Okay. I didn't want to butcher it too much, but...
Don't worry, he does that to everybody.
I do that to everybody.
At least he gets the first name right.
Exactly.
Right, Alyssa?
Exactly. But she's great, man. She's from South Florida and just kill it in real estate.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk a little bit about it, but, she's not a rookie and she's not a veteran. She's somewhere in between, but we're gonna get her story.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear it. I'm excited to hear, all about your origin. So you're in, is it like West Palm Beach? Where are you at exactly?
So I'm based out of the Boca area, Palm Beach County.
Yep.
But I work all of Palm Beach County, Broward. I even head up into Martin County and a little bit of St. Lucie County as well.
Yeah, all the beautiful places in the U.S.
Absolutely.
Yeah, lucky you. Lucky you. You were just telling us about the weather. We're jealous over here. It's beautiful here in Dallas for a change. We've been seeing 30-degree mornings and then like 70-degree afternoons. It's
That's
wild.
absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, no, I have no problem.
I don't know. The 30-degree mornings would have me shivering in my shoes.
Yeah, 37, maybe 42, right somewhere there. But still, yeah, it's definitely a little chilly for the Floridians, right? So, are you from Boca area originally? Is that your background?
Actually, no. I was born in upstate New York. I lived there till I was, about 7, and we moved to Miami. So I grew up in Miami until college, and then I ended up going to college in Orlando at UCF. And Orlando was nice, but I found my home here in Boca area. Palm Beach County is definitely my favorite place of all of Florida, and I'm happy to make it home.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's great. So you're not a native, but you kind of are. You've been rooted there since you were 7, right? So
I consider myself a Floridian.
Yeah, we probably can't talk too much New York because at the end of the day, you weren't there long, right?
Nope.
That's awesome. So
too cold. I had to get out of there. I knew from an early age it was too cold for me.
This isn't it. I'm a tropical gal.
That's right.
I love it. So you graduate from school in Orlando and jump right into real estate?
No, actually, I started out in hospitality and tourism management. My family was in it, ran hotels and stuff. I felt like it was in my blood. So I tried that for a few years. I did pretty well. I was manager on duty at different hotels, Hiltons, etc. And it just didn't feel like it was a full fit. I loved parts of it. I loved helping people. I loved building relationships with people. The parts that I did love, but then there was the parts of staying up late throughout the night, problems that it just wasn't fit. It just wasn't a full fit for me.
You didn't love it. Yeah, you didn't love it.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, and you got to love what you do.
That 100%. And I remember when I was in college, we had to make a website, and it could be about anything. And I actually made a real estate website.
Okay.
Who would have known years later I would have created my own little mini empire out of it. But at the time, it was just it was a fun thing. It was my first real thought into real estate. And I think back about it now, and it's like, if I would have only followed that then, where would I be today,
Little did you know, right? Little did you know this was where your future was headed. I love that. So how'd that segue happen? You just woke up one day and walked out of the hotel and said, I am done? Or was there a process behind that?
It was a slow process. At the time, I was married and he was in the military. So we moved around a little bit throughout my 20s.
Big surprise.
We did Georgia. We did actually move to New York for a very short time, way too cold. And ended up back down here. And so there was like a little bit of a time period in my career path when I was kind of in limbo because it was at the whims of his job.
Yeah.
And he did end up passing away. And that was a huge turning point in my life.
Yeah.
I don't bring that up to for any kind of sympathy or anything like that, but just so to express where that major shift in my life came into
Yeah.
play.
Changed your path. Yeah.
Yeah, he was my childhood sweetheart and everything, and we had all these dreams of flipping homes together one day and stuff. So when he passed away, I decided at that moment, like, what am I gonna do? Like, now I have an opportunity to either go one direction or the other, right? And the direction I decided to go in was to just independently find a way to create my own little empire.
That's
and
amazing.
I fed off of a lot of what our plans were together. Like, the very first thing I did after he passed away was decide to flip a house.
Yeah.
And in between there, I don't want to jump ahead. I did work in property management for a few years. Just to go back to your question first, I worked in hospitality for a while and decided I started feeling out that I really loved the real estate idea. So I just kind of jumped into property management, working for a property management company in the area. And he had passed away while I was working there. Well, so I decided afterwards, I'm just going to go ahead and flip a house, So I started taking a couple of those run-of-the-mill classes on how to be a real estate investor. And, I actually learned a lot, though. Maybe not on real estate investing at the time, but I learned a lot about real estate.
That's awesome.
And it really got my foot in the door. And, I did flip 2 or 3. I flipped 3. The third one was a bunk. So let's just say 2.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
No, not too bad. And that was when I discovered that I absolutely loved real estate. Yeah. And that was absolutely where I needed to be. And I decided to go ahead and get my real estate license, and the rest is history. The moment I got it, I took off running.
And that's been what, 6 years, right?
Actually, no, I'm only going on my 4th year.
4th year. Yeah, that's why I said it. She's putting up veteran numbers for 4 years.
She is, and it's such a success story, because you had a tragedy in your life, and you said, "No, I'm going to make those dreams come true." And like so few do. You stopped. You said, "I'm going to get educated. I'm going to figure out how to do this thing," and you turned those dreams to reality. And hats off to you. Like that's awesome, right? That's the American dream right there. Is and not everybody does it because sometimes they get scared, right? They get scared of well, what if this happens or what? It's going to happen. You're going to fall down and get hurt, right? But you get back up stronger and you learn from those mistakes. And then here you are having great success 4 years in,
Yeah, not even 4 years in August.
Putting up some amazing numbers. Like seriously, you're killing it, girl. Great job. Like seriously.
Well, I'm kind of glad we went down this route. I didn't know we were going to open this up or not about your husband and stuff, but you have a big motivation in your child. You're a single mom that has a huge motivation to be successful for her. And because I followed your story, it's great. This is a great story. I'm glad you decided to open it up and tell the people.
Well, and tell it the way you want to, right? It doesn't matter what questions we ask. It's your story, and that's what we would love to hear. Like, how did you get here, and whatever details you'd like to share. We want to hear them. We truly.
Well, and I never say it for those reasons, but it was such a huge turning point in my life. It was because when we were moving around all the time, he was the one taking care of everything. I didn't have to put much thought into how am I going to take care of myself and what are my dreams, what are my goals, what are my ambitions, But in that moment, and it was a pretty quick, realization, it's like, oh my God, I have to figure something out, And it didn't take too long, honestly. Within the first year, there's a lot of grieving and stuff, but within the first year, I immediately was like, all right, I'm doing this, and I'm ready to really take on and find out who Alyssa Troiano is and what she loves. And I'm going to go 100% full force. I've always been that type of person where when I have a goal or a dream or an ambition, I run at it 100% all or nothing, And so that's what I do with real estate. And that's what I continue to do and will continue to do and see how big I can get and how far I can go.
What an inspiration. Like people need to hear this stuff, because there's a lot of people out there that are facing tragedies in their life. And to know, that with a little bit of determination, and just belief in yourself, you can still bring your dreams to life. And here you are doing it. I mean, I love these type of stories because you made that happen. And, somebody maybe listen to this somewhere part of the world and go, man, you know what? Because Alyssa did this, I feel like I could have the strength to do this too. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
That it truly is. It's inspiring. It's truly inspiring.
Let's talk about how much more inspiring. She's been in the
we haven't talked about her business.
She's been in the business 4 years. The last 18 months has been terrible in the real estate mortgage industry. Don't tell Alyssa because she doesn't know that. She's all she knows is how to be successful.
Right.
There's a lot of veteran. I talked to veteran agents that have been in the business 20 years that had their worst year. Last year. 2023 was the worst year in real estate in the last 30, even over 2008. So, but you have astounding. Your numbers are spectacular. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about, because I think real estate, I say it all the time, I was in the restaurant business for 10 years. So I call it the hospitality industry. You know what? There's a reason why you're so, just talking to you, I'm drawn to you.
You're genuine.
Yeah, you're so genuine, and I think it comes across. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about how you're getting your customer.
Yeah, how'd you segue into your success, right?
Yeah, it's not like.
Sure. So, all right. So remember, I flipped a few homes, and I actually ran into a agent when I was looking for a rental after my husband passed away. I didn't know him from anything. I think I met him on Craigslist, and he ended up helping me get a rental when, I wasn't necessarily the best fit at the time.
Right.
I was a single woman and I was working in basic property management. Anyways, he believed in me and he took me on and helped me find a rental. So when I decided to flip homes, no one would have. I always told him. I told you, when I make a plan and a goal, I stick to it. So I told him when he got me that rental, I said, "You just wait. I'm going to be using you here soon, and I'm going to be flipping homes." And he was like, "Yeah, okay." And I called him a few months later, and I was like, "I'm ready. Here's my proof of funds. Let's go." Anyways, he helped me out with my next few transactions. I became really close with him, and when I got my real estate license, I presented to him. I said, "Hey, I don't know if you want to help, if you want to guide me, but I'm now a realtor and I need some direction, And he actually placed me into the broker, pointed me in the direction towards the brokerage he was with. Now, this was a basic brokerage, 100% commission, flat, they offered nothing.
That's
and
right.
I didn't know one way from another. I was brand new in the industry. So I went there and I had to find all of my business by myself. I didn't have anybody handing it to me. So I was recommended that I start with rentals. So, I just started throwing up a bunch of advertisements for rentals,
let's frame this in a little bit. So throwing up a bunch of advertisements. What does that look like to you, right? So, hey, I'm going to go after rentals. Where am I doing these ads? How am I doing them?
So I mainly started out with just Facebook. I'd go into Facebook Marketplace, advertise rental listings that were allowed to be advertised because we have the rights to choose if we want someone to advertise our listings. Right. I would advertise them on Facebook Marketplace, and I would join all the Facebook groups and all the social media groups of people who may possibly one day ask for a realtor, and I made sure I jumped in on every single one of those that came by. I did. And I was so gung-ho. I think I spent 12 to 14 hours a day working on rentals. And I almost immediately started closing out 3 to 4 rentals a month, which, pretty simple and straightforward. Right. But I'll be honest with you, some of those rentals are a lot more work than a regular sale would be.
Yeah.
Especially down here in Florida where everything's an HOA. You need first, last security up front. You need to have 3 times the income and, the rent and
qualified.
income.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
it took and my family would be like, "Why you're spending too much time doing that?" I was still working part-time at property management in the very beginning just because, and I was like, "I'm ready. I can get out." My family would be like, "No, you got to stay. It's too risky. Don't get out of your other job, And honestly, within the first 2-3 months, I had a renter come to me on Facebook and I ran her credit and everything. I said, "Hey, you have a good credit score and you make good income. You're young. Have you considered buying?" And she was like, "No, I don't think I can. I don't think I qualify." And I'm like, "It doesn't hurt. You want to speak to one of my lenders and, just see?" And she has gone on to buy a condo, which was my very first sale, buy a condo with me. I sold that condo a few years later. In between that, I sold her a single family home with her new husband and helped her rent it out and done multiple deals together. I've only been doing this less than 4 years, remember? So all this has happened with my very first sale.
Yeah.
In the very in my 3 years.
Well, I want to talk back through that real quick, Alyssa, because you got a lot of awesome nuggets that you're dropping here. And again, we want to kind of frame this in. So basically, we'll go back to Facebook's ads here in a minute, but I want to frame on this real quick. So you go in and you suggest, hey, maybe you can qualify for a home. You sell them a condo, and then immediately after, we eventually do a home purchase. When we sell the condo, do we bring that person some equity? Do they make some money?
Oh yeah, big time. All right, so it was my cheapest sale ever, right? It was my very first one, so it was like, yes. And
I did it.
She ended up making, I believe, $50,000 on it a year and a half later.
So $50,000 in a year and a half. Now we transitioned into, hey, new personal home or investment property? Where did we go with that?
So she bought it. All right. So she was still living in the condo when she bought the single family home from me. Okay. She bought it as an investment property. She ended up renting it out Airbnb and making excellent money with her and her husband because they got married afterwards.
Yes.
And then they got pregnant. So they decided to move into that house
that's great.
And sell the condo.
That's amazing. So let's talk about this. Did you help her with how to list and do the B&B thing, or was that something she did on her own?
I walked her through everything when it came to that. You know, I'm like an overachiever, I guess you could say. You know, I just want to help as much as possible. I want to do everything I can. And, you know, I think that's one of the things that have really built my business and built the relationships that I had up to this point, you know, because if there's some dirt on the floor, I'm going to sweep it. If there's a question that you have and it's unrelated to me whatsoever, I'm going to find the answer to it. If you need something dug out of the ground, I'm probably going to do that too. And some agents might look at me and say, that's crazy. That's not your job. Don't do that. At the end of the day, it doesn't bother me. And it makes me happy to make other people happy. And it makes me happy to be able to help my clients the next step forward, you know?
Yeah.
As long as there's no liability attached or minimal liability attached, of course.
But 4 years in, and this explains why you're doing the numbers you're doing, and it wasn't because it just fell into your lap. This is you doing the hard thing. And I want to go back and talk Facebook ads real quick. So we get in there, we put some ads out on Facebook. We join all these groups. How are you communicating with these people? Are you jumping into forums all the time and answering questions? And, you know, how much communication are you doing on these platforms to get that thing kicked off?
So I'll be honest, I don't do it as much as I used to.
I'm talking about
because things are busy now.
Yeah, to the beginning. Let's take it backwards because we know how you got here. Right. But what was that effort in the very beginning? We're getting started. We have no consumers that are reaching out to talk to us. We're getting into the rental side because it's an avenue that you can reach out to on social. So now you jump in these forums. How does that work? Right. What kind of effort are you putting in the beginning? Not today.
Okay. So much. I honestly probably spent 10 to 14 hours, depending on the day, sitting in front of my little tiny laptop, you know, I posted so many listings, answered everyone, going to every forum I could find, and throwing my business card up on any list, any post that I could find. I was so gun-ho. I wanted to learn. I wanted to grow. I wanted to help people. And I mean, there'd be people in situations where no other agent would touch it. I had another situation. She's ended up becoming one of my other best clients. She was a situation that nobody would probably want to touch. It was a rental, 3 kids going to college, needed 3 co-signers. Not ideal, you know?
It's not.
All had
that's
credit.
Hard work.
Yeah, it's very hard work. So I ended up taking them on and ended up getting her a rental. The very next year, she bought a house. Decided to flip that. She's like 19, 20. She's just as hardcore as I am, right? So she ended up, and she'll probably see this video because we've created a relationship since. But,
I love that.
You know, I never knew her from anyone. She was just someone on Facebook. Yeah. And ended up buying a house a year later. Decided to flip it. Sold it with me after. She made, I think, like $50,000 or maybe a little bit more. Yeah. Then bought another house with me. Didn't decide to flip it. Lived there for a little while, and recently sold it with me last year.
What kind of profit did we make on this one?
The second one, she made minimal, maybe 10,000 or 5. She didn't flip it. She wasn't doing it for that reason, you know. But she didn't lose money, and that's what matters.
Yeah, that's right.
And there was, you know, there's a lot of, and I know anybody who watches this probably knows this. There's so many speed bumps and hiccups that come in any single transaction. Absolutely. Right? And the goal is, as agents, to make sure we get over those speed bumps without the buyers or sellers feeling any of the pain of that speed bump,
100%.
right? Or maybe even not even knowing it exists, not putting that stress on you, you know?
When you're working with the right partners, that's exactly right, Alyssa. You know, when you're working with the wrong partner, you feel every bump and every speed bump and, you know, every difficult part, right? But when you're working with the right partner, somebody like Alyssa, who's going to put in that kind of effort, right, and go through and do the work to make sure that you don't see those things happen, that's when you're working with a true professional. And that's a testament to who you are, right? And, you know, one of the key things that I wanted to do this for is because we may have some young agents out there that watch this and go, you know, how do I get started in real estate? You know, and what kind of effort? A lot of effort. It's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it, right? It's not easy. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of figuring it out, right? It's a lot of doing the things that other people won't in the beginning, right?
Yes.
But doing those hard things in the beginning over time gets to where you start building relationships that are long lasting. And now you, I assume, because we haven't gone here yet, have repeat customers outside of just these two that come back to you time and time again and refer friends. Is that true?
Absolutely. And referrals, they're friends. You know, I get a lot of people who come from up north, the Northeast a lot. And then they have their friends who are coming from the Northeast, you know, contact me, and they build their own little new start down here, you know, one after another. So yeah, absolutely.
You're making
I remember
money.
In the beginning. I'm sorry.
You're showing them how to make money through real estate, right? And you're bringing them into paradise, right? They're getting out of that cold weather and down there with that beautiful sun, right? Sunrise.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, in the beginning, I would do things that most agents would never want to do. I would go pick up HOA applications. I would help them fill them in. You know, a lot of times people have issues with that. I help them fill it in. I would go with them to get their money orders because they wouldn't understand how to get a money order sometimes. I would then drive all over South Florida to get this HOA application in for you know, a rental income here. Yeah. But it was fun for me, honestly. It was exciting because I knew I was building that next step. It didn't feel like grunt work to me at the time.
You're building a castle. You know, you weren't building a tent. You're building a castle. Castles take time. And few people have the patience to put in the effort that it took you to do what you did, right? And they want the immediate results, and that just doesn't happen, right? Success takes consistency and disciplines and accountability over time. And you said, I'm doing it, and you did it. Like, you did it. Like, that's amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you.
So where are we today? So we know how you got here, and this is great because I think this will help a lot of people out there that are looking at how do you find success in this industry, right? But now you're here. What does that day to day look like now, right? What is your system?
Sure. I mean, honestly, it's all about building more relationships. It's all about building relationships. I do still work for, you know, a brokerage, a different brokerage now, but a brokerage where I provide all of my own lead sources, all of my own. I have to take on everything myself. And honestly, I prefer it that way. I prefer to build those relationships, find my own business, grow on my own. So today I have, a lot of repeat clients that they come to me now, a lot of people who have referred me out to their friends and family. I do have a couple lead sources that I do pay into as well. Nothing major, just a little bit, and kind of, you know, keep everything rolling in
supplement.
between.
Yeah, no, some supplement.
Yeah, supplement.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have so many clients that I work with that I have set up automatic searches for. Like, when I get someone a home, I don't want to just get them a home for a paycheck. When I get someone a home, I want to make sure that they absolutely love it, that they are 100% in love with their home, and that I didn't push them or guide them away from what they really wanted or whatnot. So I have many clients that are in my pipeline right now that are serious and ready, but not rushing, that I go through every single morning. I check out all the new listings that even possibly meet their requirements. I don't send them all to them right away. I do something a little different than some agents. I do waste, because I don't waste, but some may say waste a lot of time on this aspect of my day. Spend sometimes over an hour, if not more. I have all of my clients set in a rotation of like, I have the new listings that meet a certain amount of their criteria mailed to me first, not to them. And then I individually look through each of them. And the ones that I think maybe could potentially be an option for them, then I send them those separately with like maybe a snippet about this, you know, this particular listing as to why they may like it or why this might work. I do spend a lot of time doing that. It has created really good results for me. I heard other agents don't necessarily do it that way, but it shows that I'm consistently working on my clients and looking for what they're looking for, especially when I write a little snippet. It shows that it's not just an auto message, that I'm actively engaged in trying to find that home that they're looking for. And I've had a lot of good results that way. I've had people fall off, clients fall off where I don't send them anything for a little bit, but then I'll start sending them again. And then they're like, oh, I love this. Yeah. Let's go see it. Boom. I haven't talked to you in 6 months, four to 6 months. And now here we are looking at properties.
Well, let's unravel that a little bit, because again, you just defined, some amazing characteristics, and you keep referring back to a lot of realtors look at this as wasted time. And I wasn't going to go down this path, but we're in a situation right now with all the NAR things that are going on out there in the industry. And there's a lot of question about, what does a buyer's agent actually do for me, and should they be compensated for what they do? Well, let's talk about that, because like you mentioned, there's those other agents that say you're wasting your time, but there's you who says this is a value that I want to bring to my consumers, right? Because I know by doing this, I'm going to help them select the right property, the one that's made for them. And it's going to take me more time to do that. And maybe I don't get the sale as fast as somebody else. But at the end of the day, you're doing it because you're a professional. It's a process and a formula. You provide the service to your consumers. And at the end of the day, this is why agents like you, Alyssa, should be compensated every single time, because the amount of effort and work that you're putting forth, right, is 100% documented through the value that you bring to the table, right? So, like I said, I didn't want to go there because I hate bringing up negative things, right? It's out there. But at the same time, there's agents that maybe don't deserve to get a full 3% commission. And then there's agents out there that are doing the kind of work that you're doing, right? And that's what you get valued for, right? That's where the value comes for in what you're providing. So there's no question, right, as to whether a consumer's getting value when they're working with you. It's what won't you do to help them buy their house, right?
Honestly, there's very little that I won't do. And it's because nothing feels like a chore for me when it comes to real estate or anything involved with it. It's not an inconvenience for me, or it doesn't feel like it's an inconvenience for me, because it just brings us one step closer to the end result. And that's my clients finding their dream home or selling their home and getting their money and moving on to the next phase of their life. And so every little step, sometimes I have clients who have a hard time with the internet. So I'll literally get on the phone with them and I will type in, their forms for them. Sometimes it could take 45 minutes or an hour. But at the end of the day, we're one step closer to the end result, and it's helping them. So for me, it makes sense. I will. And people don't understand how much is on the back end of real estate, especially when it comes to this whole, and I won't really get into it either because there's so much unknowns, but, as of right now, there's so many unknowns on how is this all going to play out. But the reality is there's so many things involved in the back end that a normal consumer does not understand or see or know, right? Like, it's not like, oh, there's a house. Let me go write an offer. There's an offer. It's accepted. Oh, inspection. There's inspection done. All right, let me sign my documents. I got my mortgage. We're done. We're close. There's so many more steps involved that are on the back end that consumers don't see because we make it so seamless so that they don't have to be a part of that, Absolutely. So I am interested to see how this is all going to play out over the next, 6 months to a year. It will be interesting. I'm not worried because I know that at the end of the day, I'm going to conform and adjust as necessary. But I do think it's going to create a bit of a speed bump or a hiccup for a little bit while we figure out the new norm,
Well, I'm willing to bet right now that you will be just fine. For sure. My odds are on you because let me tell you something. You're doing the right stuff. And that's, at the end of the day, the consumers that you're serving, they'll realize that. They'll understand the value that you're bringing to the table. And that, your proven track record of consumers that have profited because you helped them find the perfect home. Help them figure out how to utilize that to build investment and long-term financial wealth. It speaks for itself, girl. In fact, I have to ask because, I seriously think that you might be a real estate superhero, right? Like, do you have a cape?
No, it's hidden.
Yeah, right? No, seriously, no. But absolutely astonishing. I just love your energy too. And I can see why you're having such great success because you bring a lot of value, but at the same time, you're just a great person. You're absolutely a great
Thank
person.
you.
So
I really appreciate that.
yeah, absolutely. So, we always like to talk about things, and Dave mentioned that you're a mom. How do you have time to do all of this?
Because she works 7
My
days a
cape,
week.
remember? I'm wearing that cape.
That's what I'm saying. Super mom, right?
Yes, I am a single mom. I have a daughter. She just turned 5 yesterday. She is my best friend, my everything. She's my wife. She's really the reason why I do what I do. I to be in a position that I am right now, to be able to provide her the life that I can essentially on my own, is absolutely a blessing. I just bought a new house, and because she's going to elementary school next year, so I literally had one goal in mind for the last 2 years, and it was, I'm going to buy a nice, big, beautiful home in a good school district before my daughter goes to elementary school. And she just turned 5 yesterday. I bought my house 3 weeks ago, and I made that, and now here I am. So she's my why, she's my reason. I'm so grateful to be able to provide this type of life for her, and I hope that she sees and experiences watching me work the way that I do, and I hope I am able to instill that into her, going forward. She loves to go on showings with me and stuff, and I only do it once in a while after I've built up a good rapport and relationship with my clients. They're always like, bring your daughter. No, but she loves it. She's like, so in school, for graduation, they say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And she goes, I want to be a realtor.
I love it. Well, I'm going to have you, you're going to talk to her real quick, because I want you just give her some advice and tell her, where mom is and how you feel about your little girl.
Absolutely. Paisley, I'm so proud of you. I just want you to stay the spunky, excited, happy girl that you are. Continue to work hard. Be just as driven as you are now, dedicated. Continue to work hard, and don't lose that strong will you have, and you're going to go far.
So awesome. So awesome. So I would love to keep you here all day, because I am having absolutely just the time of my life hearing your story and what you do. You're just such a great person, but we can't. So we know you got to get back out there and get busy. We got to give your phone back to you. So is there anything we didn't touch on today that you'd like to talk about?
No, not really. If you are new to the industry, I hope that you understand that you can make it. It's about what you put in it. The more you put in, the more you will get out. It's not an easy job. It's not quick. It's not quick, easy money. But if you push through, you put in the work, you put in the time, you build those relationships, build that rapport, you will come out on the other side, and it will be worth it.
I love that. Well, thank you for that too, because people need to hear that. So, love the encouraging spirit that you bring to the table. When the folks out there want to find you, we know you're out there in that Boca, South Florida area. And I think you mentioned earlier, you kind of go a little bit of everywhere, but what is your territory? What do you cover?
So my primary focus is Palm Beach and Broward County. If you're familiar with Florida, those counties aren't that far apart. So you hear two counties, you think a widespread area. Palm Beach is my number one. Broward is just as busy for me. Those are my prime spots.
I love it. And when they want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to reach out to Alyssa?
Call me directly. Call me, text, email. You can reach me at 561-727-7295. You can email me at Alyssa, Alyssa, T as in Tango, real estate @gmail.com. You can check out my website at alyssa-realtor.com. You reach me any way you want. I'm always available.
Well, there it is, guys. And if you're watching this, you just saw that run across the screen because it's right here. But if you're listening in, go over to the description and you're going to have all of her contact information there. And we definitely hope that you do, because Alyssa's outstanding and you're going to get absolutely amazing service. So, thank you for that. Dave, how about you, brother? Anything you'd like to share today?
Yeah, man. If I'm looking for real estate out in South Florida, I'm calling Alyssa. I mean, it's if you heard this podcast, she's a full service realtor, whatever that means. That's everything from helping you fill out applications to going to what wherever. So, I mean, she definitely gives you a full service, and you'll be super happy with the service.
Yeah. Well,
thank you.
Well, no, thank you. Thank you for coming and sharing your story. I think this one's going to touch some people. I know that definitely touched my heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So again,
Thank you.
Well, I guess if that's it, Dave, we're your real estate success partners. I'm Devin Dubuc.
I'm David Nguyen.
And if you want to check us out, you can find us at realestatesuccesspartner.com. Again, that's realestatesuccesspartner.com. But we'd love if you come over to YouTube or Facebook and find us at the Dubuc team. And that's where you're going to see this live podcast, right? Or I guess it's not live for you, but it's live for us. And, please comment, make some subscribes, call Alyssa, right? And, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, we'd love to have you. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you soon.
Bye, guys.